Good evening. I'm Michelle with Marion Audubon, and tonight's program is all about using iNaturalist to identify plants and wildlife. Plus, you can learn how you can get involved in the upcoming City Nature Challenge. We'll be hearing tonight from Dr. Mark Hostetler, a professor of wildlife ecology and conservation at the University of Florida. With over 20 years of experience in urban wildlife and green development issues, Dr. Hostetler conducts research and outreach on how urban landscapes could be designed and managed to conserve biodiversity and wildlife habitat. Dr. Hostetler co-founded UF's program for resource-efficient communities and collaborates with a team of scientists and graduate students to foster green development projects nationally and internationally. He is the author of The Green Leap, Conserving Biodiversity and Subdivision Development, and he has produced and directed an award-winning TV series titled Living Green, which I personally have found both informational and entertaining. Welcome, Dr. Hostetler.
Thank you, Michelle. Yes, it's nice to be with you all. I know it's Zoom and I'm looking outside my window. It's dark and raining here in Gainesville, but I'm excited to be here and hope to take you through several levels of not only iNaturalist, but about a new initiative through University of Florida called the Neighborhood Natural Area Network. So, and it's connected to iNaturalist, and you'll see how this all unfolds. So what I think we can do is, if you have questions, write them in the chat as we go along. At the very end, we can go through the chat, and then if it's not too disruptive, then people can speak up when they have questions about the presentation as well. To give you a little more background about myself, I've been in Gainesville. Well, I actually got my doctorate in Gainesville way back when, but I've been here at the University of Florida, my current position, for about 22 years. Originally from Indiana, from the Midwest. I know you guys have your cameras off, so I can't see who else is from the Midwest, but let's just say the winters there are pretty gray. I enjoy the winters down here in Florida. And over the years, if I were to hang my hat on anything as an urban ecologist, is that the little bits matter. I think through my colleagues and through my students and through the research I've done over the years, I've really kind of, it's not nature, it's not outside of cities, it's within cities. And it's important what's going on, not only within the urban environment, but how we manage and design urban environments to minimize impacts on the natural areas that surround cities. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see. Everyone can see that? Michelle, thumbs up. Good.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So within the next 25 minutes, what I'm going to do is kind of talk. First of all, I've been really excited. The pandemic kind of slowed this down. We're first getting ramped up about the Neighborhood Natural Area Network, and I'll describe more about it. And then I'll go into what is iNaturalist and the City Nature Challenge that's coming up. And then I will use the web to demonstrate a little bit the power of iNaturalist and how you can get involved fairly easily and rapidly using this wonderful citizen science program. So the Neighborhood Natural Area Network, one of the ideas is that there's natural areas that are embedded within cities, within neighborhoods, and really, how can we create awareness about the connection of how your yard connects to these nearby natural areas? So this network was started to improve communication and management actions to conserve wildlife habitat and natural resources. So what do these neighborhoods that join the network do? Well, one of the first things they do that really gets people involved is to create an iNaturalist project, and I can help do that if anyone's interested in getting their neighborhood involved. And they record and identify species through like a BioBlitz. Sometimes this really helps learning about the local natural heritage. And it's pretty addictive. Once you get going, it's like, oh, wow, what are these, plants right outside my door? down the street, in the neighborhood. And I think the one thing, the silver lining with the pandemic was it really got people outdoors walking their neighborhoods much more than they did before. And iNaturalist can be that one extra tool to help you explore your environment. So here's an example. There's a neighborhood called Madera. It's on the south part off of Williston Road in Gainesville. And they've created, helped them create an iNaturalist project. And you can see there's 98 observers, over 900 observations. And the idea behind that is really to get people to, well, to communicate with each other, but also to understand their neighborhood and what kind of species they have. Other thing I've been involved with several communities in the network is creating conservation and restoration activities. So removing invasive exotics, planting natives in common areas, doing nature walks, all those type of things help expose people to their environment around them. So an example here, this is Sorrento neighborhood. They're removing coral ardesia in a nearby natural area. Another community planting natives around a stormwater pond to provide bird habitat and butterfly habitat. And another community actually did a BioBlitz of the natural area and recorded within 2 hours as many plants and animals and mushrooms that they could find. And I think the network, we have currently, I think we're ramping up. We have like 40 to 45 neighborhoods and communities and groups. It really creates more opportunities to learn about local plants and animals, and you can start community projects like a restoration project to improve habitat for local wildlife. And one of the biggest feedback I get from a lot of the neighborhoods is it really improves the sense of community because people gather together, like this group that you see in the background there. Twice a month, they go out and remove coral ardesia. It's like a Sunday morning thing they do for 2 hours. So if you're interested, that's my contact information. Just hostetm@ufl.edu. That's the website there. And after the talk, you can email it me at any time if you're interested in joining. Well, now let's skip to, and by the way, that background that I have on my Zoom is not Florida, it's New Zealand. I go there each summer or their winter. To teach a course and do some research there. So if you're just wondering what my background was. So iNaturalist. What is iNaturalist? Well, really, it's a global citizen science monitoring platform. It was created originally by the California Academy of Sciences and the National Geographic Society. And it's a social network, really. It's where people can share recordings of species, they can identify species, they can debate about the species. There's also lots of debates in identifying different, like mushrooms and some of the harder to identify herbs that you'll find in the ground. But it's really about kind of just reflecting and monitoring and actually getting research data that's being used by museums and scientists all around the world. And one of the neat things about it is because it uses artificial intelligence, it can actually be used to identify species. So how does it do this? Essentially, when you join iNaturalist and you take a photo with your smartphone, if your geolocator is on, it places you on the planet. And then when you upload your photos, those photos say, okay, I took these on the south side of Gainesville. And then what it does, it suggests which species it is by using artificial intelligence. And it's looking at all the photos that have been taken by people in that area that look similar. And then the iNaturalist will give you, and actually when you click on a button that says, what did you see? And I'll discuss that in a second. You can say, it will tell you a suggestion. Sometimes it'll give you a species, sometimes it'll give you the genus, maybe the family, but it's based on all the photos that have been taken in that area and they've been identified. So how do you do it? Well, you join iNaturalist. It's easy to do. It's like any organization. You put in a username and a password. And that's the website, iNaturalist.org. It's a free account. and you can download the app to the smartphone. The good thing about the app of the smartphone is that you can be out in the field. If you have connection to a satellite data, you can actually use the app to identify a species. But as I'll discuss, I encourage people just to take photos with their phone, like 10, 20, 30 photos, and then upload them later into their computer, and then upload them to iNaturalist, because it's a lot faster that way. So take photos. So again, make sure your geolocating is on, and if you're not that savvy, as long as your maps is working, your geolocating is on. So if you get from point A to point B, your smartphone geolocator is on. You need to take clear photos, and you can take a photo and delete it and keep trying it to take the best photo. And we also encourage, for some of the harder to identify species, is take multiple photos of the same species. Sometimes, like for mushrooms, you can take the cap on the top, and you can take the gills underneath, and you can put up to 4 photos per upload, per observation, that will help people to identify them. Because what happens is, if the AI can't really identify it, and it's not very confident, you will put it up there, you say a mushroom or a plant or a bird or a lizard, and then experts, naturalists, will get on there and help identify it. So upload them. Again, like I said, you can upload them in the field for identification. You can upload many of them, up to 50 at a time is what I recommend, on the computer. And like I said before, take those multiple photos to make sure you can identify a particular species that's hard to identify. Now, birds, you upload a bird photo, within 10, 20 minutes, someone's on there identifying it. Plants, depending on the plant, is it a flowering plant? Maybe 3 hours. But mushrooms may be a little bit longer before someone gets on there and identifies them. So what are some of the perks of iNaturalist? Well, one is just exploring. So for example, let's say you're interested in pileated woodpeckers in Alachua County. So where have they been sighted? So you can put in there pileated woodpecker, Gainesville, Florida, hit go, and it will pop up all these different observations throughout Gainesville. And you can do this anywhere in the world. So you can be in West Africa, you could be in New Zealand, and if people have been using iNaturalist, all those different observations are uploaded, and you can figure out where they are. And let's say you wanted to see a kiwi in New Zealand. Where are the kiwis? Well, the kiwis are really hard to see in the wild, but you definitely would see where they have been seen in the wild, and potentially you could go there to find it inside a kiwi. Also, it's really good just locally, learning about the species in your yards. I was talking earlier with Michelle about, I had a project where people were just identifying the herbs and grasses and mushrooms that came out of the cracks in their driveways and their sidewalks. It's really very powerful type of program that could be used anywhere and with almost anything, even underwater. There's a whole section of underwater photos as well. So with that, organized out of California Natural History Museum, they've done the City Nature Challenge, and the purpose is to help people understand that nature is just not only in, quote unquote, the pristine natural areas, but it's everywhere: neighborhoods, cities, yards, even those potted plants that have little things growing in them. So this one, the first one we did was in 2020. It was organized locally. And typically what happens is there's a 4-day period or a 3-day period of any recordings or observations done within Alachua County. So remember, you have your geolocator on. You don't have to say, I have to join this project. It just automatically gets collected whenever you take a photo and upload them during that time frame. So this happened April 24th to 27th in 2020. We had, at that time, 240 cities participating, and you can see almost 1 million observations in that short time frame around the world. And in Alachua County, even though we don't have a lot of people compared to some of the big cities like Miami, et cetera, we were ranked 21 globally in terms of the amount of observations that were done. So it's just it's not really a competition. It's mainly meant to be fun. And I would encourage like your group Audubon to, during the time frame, which I'll tell you in a second, to go out and organize groups in this time frame to do observations. So the next one that's coming up is April 28th to May 1st. Again, it's within Alachua County. So I know you're in Marion County, but Michelle said some people come up quite often to Gainesville or across the border. Anytime you cross that border and you're in Alachua County and you take a photo between April 28th to May 1st, then that will be entered into the competition. And then how it works is after people have taken these photos during that time frame, they have actually till May 7th to upload them. And also people are identifying. We get a group of scientists together and help identify the species that have been uploaded. So in summary, if you're interested in joining the Neighborhood Natural Area Network, just give me a holler. And join iNaturalist and participate in the Alachua City Nature Challenge. It's a hoot. And if you have been to Sweetwater Wetlands Park up in Gainesville, that's a great place to spend the weekend. If you're interested, I can help you set up an iNaturalist project for your neighborhood. Just email me. I can do it several ways. I can do it by membership only, or I can delineate your neighborhood, and anybody that uses iNaturalist in that area gets uploaded into that project. And also, you know, start a local restoration project. You can be amazed. Those little bits really matter for stopover habitat for migrants, for example, or for perhaps during the breeding season. There's a lot of different species that utilize those small forest fragments and open areas within cities. And here again is my contact information. The Department of Wildlife Ecology and Conservation. We have a number of what we call extension specialists. I'm one where I just really enjoy working with the public and working on projects such as the Neighborhood Natural Area Network. So Michelle, is there anybody, there's a small pause here for that presentation. I was going to go into a demonstration with iNaturalist. I just wonder if there's any questions about what I just talked about. Michelle, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I don't have any questions, I don't think, at this point.
I'll just give people a second to digest that. And sometimes there's questions about the iNaturalist or the Neighborhood Natural Area Network. And if not, I can continue with the demonstration about how to use iNaturalist. But any questions, someone just pipe up. I think we have 11 people. Yeah, so go ahead and just unmute yourself. And if you have a question, go ahead.
And this is Michelle again. I guess I do have one question. I don't live in a like a housing development that has, you know, a name and all of that. I live in the Ocala National Forest area. So would it make sense to create a neighborhood natural area network for my area? And like, how big can one of those areas be?
It can be as big as you like. So it could be just a yard if you want to do that. But I encourage a little bit more than a yard, but you can do like an area, like however big, whatever you delineate. I can get on the map and help you delineate. You have to, it's not that complicated to look. You have to create a KML file from Google Earth. And once you do that, you upload it and give it a name. And then that area can be used specifically to collect all the different projects or information. So yeah, you know, it doesn't have to be. In fact, in the Neighborhood Natural Area Network, we have community groups, about a third of it. They're not really associated with the neighborhood. It's like the Master Gardeners of Alachua County or the Audubon group down in Key West. So it can be groups as well. Neighborhood Natural Area Network is just kind of a catch-all.
Okay. All right.
All right. Let me see if I thought I had it up here and all of a sudden it's not up there. What happened to my iNaturalist? Okay. Give me a second here. I will demonstration for some reason. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. Can everyone see my screen, the iNaturalist?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea here, I thought I'd do a couple things. One is kind of show you the power of iNaturalist and give you a few tricks here and there. The one thing that's really neat about it is the explore button. That's the one I really like. So if you hit explore, it's going to place me, well, you can see all the iNaturalists in the world. And let's say I wanted to see, I'm going to New Zealand. Let's say kiwi, like the brown kiwi. And I'm going to Christchurch. And I hit go. It's not going to show too many there because there are no kiwis in Christchurch. It's too, but if I did the South Island, you're going to see some hot spots of where kiwis are found. So it just depends on the species. This is a Stewart Island, and there's a few kiwis down in Dunedin here. So the neat thing is you can really explore, by species, by location. So let's say summer tanager, and let's put Marion County. So here's some observations of around Silver Springs and a couple other places. So it's really a way you can explore just wherever you go throughout the world, what kind of species you can find. So I could even, do something like, you're really interested in spiders. Ooh, so and lots of spiders throughout observations throughout Marion County. So it's just a really neat way to get involved and get connected. And also, once you click on the observation, let's say, you can go to it and you can see the person that did it. Usually it's just a username, but you can actually click on the username and email them through the app if you want to converse them on any level at all. So it promotes a lot of interaction as well. So what happened is, if you look at this, this RT Dino Explorer put in the spider picture. And if you don't know spiders at all, what you would do is at least identify, what maybe perhaps the genus or the family, or even you could do arachnids, you go right up to the order. And then other people get on there. So Tim got on there and said, it's a Maple Orchard orb weaver. And so this one said, oh, yeah, I think you're right. So if one or two people get on there and the two people agree, then it becomes quote unquote research grade. Although, take that with a grain of salt, because things can get very complicated with flies and mushrooms and other things, even plants, etc. Sometimes birds too. So the other thing that's really powerful about that is you can create projects. So here I can go to my projects. So like here I have a Girl Scout troop, and that's by membership. And they have been looking at different species. Only the members' posts get collected into this project. So several different ways to collect it. You can collect it from by membership only, or you can collect it by area. And there's even what's called an umbrella project, where if you have multiple, like let's say you want to see all the Audubon projects across Florida, you can umbrella those and then look at each project fairly quickly. So it's a way of organizing the data into something that's more manageable that you can see. All right, so let's say I go to my observations. And I think I uploaded a few. I was out giving this talk over at Austin Carey. And so let's click on this one here. So this is a Florida native, Cycat Kunti, and there's many things you can do. You can edit it once you post the sighting itself. So here, if I put the edit button on here, I can get on, I can change, here it says, what did you see? If I got that wrong, I could change that. You can change the date, you can put notes on there, you can change the location, and you can even browse and select more files or different photos that you like to put up there if you took different photos of that plant. And then you can save it at the end, and then it will be saved and observed in a different fashion in terms of however you edit it. So the other thing that I encourage people to do is with your phone, here I'll hold it up to my face. If you take multiple photos, you can use it to identify species in the field, but what I encourage people to do, take lots of photos and wait till you get home, and then you upload them that way. So if I hit the upload button up here, you can choose files, you can drag and drop once you have them on your laptop. And then once you find them there, then you can upload them however you would like to upload them. So for example, here I have this American lady, and if I had taken that photo with a smartphone, which I had not, someone else has sent me that photo, and the metadata was lost. So it's going to have a difficult time identifying the species when it doesn't know that. And the way you can do that is you can go to location. I know this was taken in Florida, and you can go and say Gainesville, Florida. And then you can say, yep, let's do that. Somewhere right about there, let's say. And then it actually will, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't save it. I forgot to save it. And then you can actually use that location, and then it will compare other locations from around there. What is that species? So there's all different ways you can do this. And it's really I mean, it just gets better and better when you do these things, how the different not only the identification, but also the ways to compare from one area to the next. All right, let's delete that. And let me really quick find where I put the iNat stuff. There we go. So I'll choose some files. And I'm looking for that. Whoops. Excuse me just a second. Well, this is my laptop being squirrely right now, not showing my folders here. So I'll just go to here. Anyway, while I'm looking for the folder, is there any questions right off the bat about what I've gone through? So here, let's say I want to upload these photos here. I can do them all at once. And these are photos from that one, a project. And what you can do is several different things. You can hear that it's detecting that's a millipede. You can hear it's loading suggestions. They're not quite sure what it is. They give you a lot of different types of mushroom types. So what I do is just put it in the fungi. And so you can do this with every plant. You know, if let's say you don't know what this palmetto is, you can go to the genus and put the palmetto is. And then let's say you wanted to do the location, you could do the location. So it's just really a unique way to quickly add as many. And so what I encourage people to do, you can do 50 at once. And this one over here, I can, select all of them and put in the date, let's say. So let's say I want to put in March 6th, then it'll be March 6th for all of those. So there's different ways you can edit, like all at once or for individual ones, etc. And then you would simply put it to submit for observations, and then that would go up into the data set. All right. So I'm going to remove all of those. I'm going to go back to the iNaturalist site here. The other thing that's people sometimes when they're getting on there. So let's look at let's go to Explore again. And let's look at Gainesville, Florida. Or let's look at Marion County. How about that? So you can see all those different colors there. The blues are let me zoom in. The blues are usually birds. The green are plants. The red are, well, insects and arachnids. So here's a plant here. Oh, ghost pipe. That's cool. So you can go there and look at the observation. And if you look at this one, you can see that there's multiple pictures of the same one. And that really helps us with identification. And so she suggested that. 2 other people agreed with that. So now it's past the 2-person agreement, and it becomes the ghost pipe for that particular species. Other things you can do, as well, a lot of you are of course bird experts, you can identify. So a lot of times it's up to us, once you're on iNaturalist, to help other people identify things. So here's like an unknown, and you can search by species. So you could say, let's look at the birds in Marion. And there may be something, you're like, what's that? See, there's a crow and raven. Now, well, of course, that's going to be difficult to identify without hearing them. But maybe you're really good. Maybe that is, someone says, yeah, I can tell right away that's a fish crow. I'm not sure how, being that far away. But there are a need for experts to get on and help identify things. So let's go to let's see, there's someone, you can record sounds here. So it's not only photos, you can record sounds. So if you go here to the palm warbler, someone put that on there. Oh, just the chirp of the palm warbler. So you could agree or not agree depending on that sound too. Let's go to the yellow rump warbler here. Yeah. So again, chirps. Sometimes those are going to be pretty difficult, but that's the whole purpose, is to get multiple people on there, multiple experts to identify these things. And then the other last thing I would guide you towards is, let's say you want to get school group involved, or you want to learn more about the in-depth of how to do iNaturalist. So there's these video tutorials that can take you through, and how to add observations via the web, how to geotag with your DSLR, all those kind of things. And there's even a teacher's guide, which I think is really helpful for teachers, and particularly if you're going to a classroom, how to help students to get and use iNaturalist. All right, I'm going to stop there. Any questions? So City Nature Challenge, if you're up in Alachua County during that April 28th to May 1st, take a bunch of photos. You can go back to Marion County and upload them there. It's just you have to be within that boundary and your phone in that area for it to be recorded for the challenge. Okay.
So
go ahead.
I'm looking on the app, and it says that there's a missions. Could you explain the missions feature of the app?
Which one?
The missions feature, and I also sent a little screenshot of it in the chat too.
Okay, let me go through. I guess we have several questions. I'll go through that one in a second. Is this Alex?
Yes.
Okay. Is all the data on the app sourced from members and or professional sources? So all the data is anyone that joins it. So it's professional, unprofessional. It comes from everywhere. So it's like a big crowdsourcing, and it sometimes gets messy, right? You know, you can misidentify things. So it's really kind of a really unique way to get people involved, but you have to take it with a little grain of salt that it's not going to be perfect. There's not going to have everything, but scientists all around the world do use it quite often. I know a lot of people in the museum that use it to track sightings of herps like frogs and salamanders and moths. There's all kinds of ways to do this. Sorry. So the missions thing, that's interesting. Do you have an Android or do you have iPhone?
Yeah, I'm on an Android phone. Is it only a smartphone thing?
Well, it's like I said, you can take it with a regular camera that has geolocating, put them on the laptop, and you can upload them that way. But in the field for identification, yes, it's only a smartphone thing. So the mission, I believe, is like projects on the iPhone. So you can look at set up projects. You can go and then upload them to that project. But what's really neat is once you have a project and you're in an area, like let's say Alachua County, there's a project for the City Nature Challenge, you just have to be there. It automatically gets loaded to the project. You don't have to select. But then you go to that mission or to that project to look at all those observations. Does that answer your question? Yeah, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you researching in New Zealand? I was looking with a botanist and another urban ecologist, and we were looking at ways to design and manage Christchurch and surrounding areas for biodiversity. But we also did a lot of this was when iNaturalist was young, and this was back in 2007. So they had a separate app for New Zealand. Now that most people have joined iNaturalist, even if they had different country apps. So I was looking to see how different neighborhoods, same here in Florida, how different neighborhoods were performing in terms of attracting birds in a nutshell. Let's see. So if there are not any more questions, you can email me later if you're interested in the Neighborhood Natural Area Network, or if you are interested in participating in the City Nature Challenge. Just bop on up to Alachua County and record a bunch of species, and then you can upload them at your leisure later on. So do you have an ending, Michelle?
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So I would like to thank you for this presentation. It was great. I learned a lot, and even though I've been using iNaturalist for a few years, and yeah, I think we'll have to organize a group to go up for the City Nature Challenge and contribute up there. So thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.